Hey there.
Wednesday night, Rockstar Diaries, Healing Out Loud. We are celebrating. I am actually wearing my party hat, my fun party hat. Should we tell them why we're celebrating?
Yes. Heck yeah, 3 months.
3 months. We just, tonight is our 14th episode. 90 days, and it's all because of you. We love you. Okay, yeah. 13th episode. Oh, I got that wrong.
That reminds me us coming. We have some great shows coming up with
Okay, yeah, before we do that, we are Yeah! First fan gets a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes, we are celebrating. We're so happy. And it's all because of you. And we want to know that we want your feedback for the next 90 days. Who do you want to see, or what type of people as guests? What kind of skits do you want to see? What kind of music? Oh my goodness. Send in your feedback. Contact rockstardiariestv.com or hit us up on social media.
Oh my gosh, what I was saying earlier is that we have some great shows coming up. We have Jackson, who is a singer, songwriter, author, also songwrote with Brooks.
Yes.
Down in Nashville.
Yep.
And
Grammy.
Also coming up is Roger Fisher, former guitarist for Heart. Oh my gosh.
And our visit to Washington State, which is where I'm from and where he lives, and one of my favorite cities, Gold Bar. So we are so excited, and we're celebrating. Celebrate good times. Come on.
Shh, can't do that.
Woo! All right. Well, it is Suicide Awareness. September is Mental Health Month. And, we wanted to pick one of the hot topics, which, by the way, is awareness. Okay. It's mindfulness, awareness, and a winning. Mental health matters. Yes. Mental health matters. Right. Truly, we are advocates for mental health. And the hot topic, again, is about mindfulness, but we have a funny video to share with you. You can say that later.
Oh, sure, no problem.
I'm trying to have my mindfulness moment.
Oh, okay.
What do I gotta do to get some me time? That's it. It is so true. We don't mean to make light of it. Mindful, and some people, yoga, meditation. There's so many ways, to exercise mindfulness. And, we just want to basically, talk about it for this hot topic, right?
Right.
All righty. So what if I told you the greatest tool for health and vitality isn't in a pill bottle or a gym membership? It's already with you right now. It's your breath. It's your awareness. This is our hot topic of the day, the power of mindfulness.
USC had a mindfulness study. After just 30 days of daily practice, participants showed measurably sharper focus and less distractibility. All ages, proving presence is a muscle anyone can train.
Yes. I did want to share my personal story. There was a time I was moving so fast. I didn't even realize that I wasn't taking care of myself. I had stopped living, really. Okay. So I was going through the motions, chasing dead to else, ignoring my own body, screaming at me to slow down. One day it all caught up. I ended up in 2010 in a hospital bed, flat on my back, completely burned out and exhausted. My heart, my body, it forced me into silence when I refused to listen. Okay, but in that stillness, right, something shifted. God spoke to me, number one. But for the first time in years, I breathed, truly deep breathing down into the bottom of your lungs. The biggest part of your lungs is down here. It's, I noticed the rise and fall of my chest. I noticed the weight of my body sinking into the bed. And in that moment, I felt this whisper, "You have a second chance, Janine." See, awakening isn't about doing more. It's about finally being present. When I got out of the hospital, recovery, it was not easy. I started small, and here's some things that we wanted to talk to you about that can really help you, because it really, really helped me. First of all, breath, just breathing. Even before you get on your computer or your phone, take 3 deep breaths. Okay, take 4 counts in through the nose, hold it for 2 counts, and out through the mouth, 6 counts. That's just one way of breathing. Okay, do it 3 times and just feel the difference. I stretched, not exercise, not to perform, but to listen to my body. And I would just walk. I started walking, but it was an intentional focused walking. I paid attention to every step. Okay. So, mindfulness is a very, very important thing. We just wanted to share those things. It's about rewiring your brain. Okay. Anxiety will ease, an attitude of gratitude also rewire your brain. Your focus will return. You can start laughing again. Even grief and pain felt different. Instead of drowning me, they became waves that I could ride with awareness. So if you're watching this and you feel numb or lost or weighed down, try this. Pause, take a deep breath, go outside, walk in your garden, do some gratitude journaling. It may feel small, but those small mindful movements hold the power to awaken your whole life. That is our hot topic for the week. And now we're going to our guest. You're going to be very, very happy.
You're watching the Rockstar Diaries TV show.
Welcome, everybody, to Rockstar Diaries Healing Out Loud. Woo! With heart, humor, and harmony. We are Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Yep. And we're here with David Fradin, who is an author, consultant on product success. He also wrote the book on personal narratives called Letters From My Heime, which is about the history of immigration from Ukraine in 1914 to the New World. Oh my gosh, what an amazing thing.
He has experience in building successful products since 1969 at organizations including at HP, as well as Apple. David also heads a professional development company specializing in building insanely great products.
Love that.
Product management, product marketing, and has trained thousands of managers throughout the world based on his experience at Hewlett Packard. I can't even say it. Hewlett Packard, HP, Apple, and across 75 products and services and 11 startups. He is the author of many books.
Yes, welcome, David. We are so happy to have you.
I'm glad to be with you.
Love the background too. We're searching for places like in Hawaii and Mexico and somewhere tropical to go to. So I always love to see that. So,
that's the view from my lanai at my Maui vacation rental.
Yes. Nice. Oh my goodness. Love, love, love it. So let's just jump right in. You have 5 keys that you talk about for product success. And I know a lot of our viewers out there would love to hear what those 5 key elements are. Do you mind just jumping right in?
Sure. It's summarized as a mnemonic in the first word of my company's name, Spice Catalyst, where the S stands for strategy, product market strategy. The P stands for repeatable processes. The I stands for having the information necessary to make informed decisions. The C is understanding your customer. And the E is make sure that your employees have all the skill sets necessary for product success.
Well, you just summarized that so well. Can we talk about the audience part? How, or customers, audience, whatever you want to call it. Can you talk about how do you go about finding out what your targeted audience is?
Well, first you start with understanding what it is your customer wants to do.
Yeah.
Why they want to do it, when they want to do it, where they want to do it, how they want to do it, what's standing in their way, how important is it for them to get it done, and how satisfied are they with the current way of doing it. That then you can roll up after you observe, conduct interviews, and then do surveys to then estimate your total market, your total available market, and that portion of that market that you can target.
Shark Tank is on my mind because some people with their products really go to the top. I just found out that a gal that I worked with, who I just adore, Leslie Pearson, from 20 years ago, got on Shark Tank, and the lady, can't remember her name, partnered with her. And I just thought that was so amazing. So what would somebody have to do to get on Shark Tank? I know that's a weird question, but
I don't know. Maybe you have to become food for sharks.
I love that. Become attractable or attractive to the sharks.
Probably just search for Shark Tank, or I would use my AI assistant, Perplexity, and simply ask it, what does it take to get on Shark Tank?
I did that with TEDx. I really did. And it was amazing, the information that came out of it. So let's talk AI.
Let me ask you a question, though. I know she just asked you something. Let's talk AI. Let me ask you a question. Are you ever in the position of being the guys in Shark Tank to helping some of these companies out?
Good question.
If I could figure out how I could become a host on Shark Tank, yeah.
No. I mean
That's
your
what
own
you meant.
your own Shark Tank.
Yes.
Helping these companies or individuals out that come out with a really unique product.
Well, that's pretty much what I consult on.
Mm-hmm.
Companies approach me when they have problems, and they ask me to come in and fix it.
All right. So walk us through a little bit the first step. I mean, do you have to believe in their product in order to help them, or how do you audition those clients?
Well, I'll give you one example. I was retained a few years ago by a company called Propel, and they wanted to figure out where they're going to go next with the company. I think they were doing, I forget if it was 10 million or 100 million a year. So I came in and interviewed about 100 of their customers to find out how they were using their product, and then extrapolated that across the demographics of that market, and then made suggestions of where they should grow into.
Nice. I love the grape. How about you?
The what?
Grape Propel.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you talking about that Propel?
That's the product, the drink?
No, this was
I
Oh.
think so.
company that helped manage supply side or supply chains.
Oh, okay.
What is your favorite drink? Since we're on the subject.
Gin.
Gin. Okay.
Gin and tonic?
Yeah, gin and tonic or martinis.
Oh, nice.
A world of glamour, fame, and catered lunches. One man stands alone. He works tirelessly behind the scenes of the hit Rockstar Diaries TV show. He is an associate producer. He makes the magic happen. At a level a poor person would feel elevated, he works tirelessly, fueled by dreams, ambition, and the faint hope that the vending machine will finally dispense a bag of chips without getting stuck. Look at him. His eyes tell a story. The tragic realization that exposure doesn't pay the rent. He's not just an associate producer, he's a fellow in need. His wallet feels emptier than a Hollywood promise. You could help today for the cost of one coffee. You can provide a moment of joy, a flicker of hope, and maybe even a reason to believe that his next meal won't be someone else's leftover sushi in the fridge. So please help Levi and others like him doing great work, bringing you the incredible Rockstar Diaries TV show, but feeling empty in their wallets. Donate to Mr. Smith Thanks You and give this hardworking soul a reason to smile. He's earned it. Probably. You're watching the Rockstar Diaries TV show.
So, David, you have quite the story, and your family has quite the story. Will you talk to us about your book, Letters from My Heime? Did I pronounce that correctly, Heime?
Yes,
Okay.
my father's name was Hyman, Hyman,
Okay.
and he sometimes went by the nickname Jaime.
Okay.
And Letters from My Jaime has no relationship with Letters from My Vagina. It's a story of my family, the Fradin family, and I had a cousin of mine somehow got the actual letters that my dad wrote home during World War II. So I started researching it and put it together as a portion of the book with a historical context around each of the letters. So like one that he wrote like in 1942 after he was discharged from the Marines because he had flat feet and enlisted again. So they stuck him in the Army infantry. And I went back to research my family history and found that it goes back to the Fradins in France, when in 1492, my grandmother of about 26 generations ago was escaping Spain due to the Spanish Inquisition in 1492. It was either that or she was trying to find Columbus. And she was traveling north into southwestern France and was attacked by a bunch of thieves. And a gallant young man with his friends that all had swords came to her rescue. She was 15 at the time. He fell in love with her. They got married, and then their descendants and my predecessors became things like a general in Napoleon's army, the mayor of Lyon, opened a winery, which I still think I think it's still there, called the Fradin Winery. And eventually one of them got anointed as a duke by the King of France. So if I ignore the French Revolution, which eliminates all aristocratic titles, you are talking to a duke.
Wow, we're in the presence of a duke.
Royalty.
Well, it doesn't do too much because a few years ago I was given the title of distinguished professor at a university in India. And I called my daughter up and said, I just found out I'm a distinguished professor. Can I now get a little bit of respect? And she said, no. So when I found out I was a duke, I called her up and said, hey, I'm a duke. Can I now get a little bit of respect? And I got the same reaction.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have to share this. It's a short story, but I just saw Ben Affleck on some not a podcast, a interview. And he was talking about him and his daughter went to this wax museum with all of her friends. It was an outing, and she saw a wax figurine of him, and she was like, Daddy, why in the world would anybody care about seeing a wax figurine of you? He was just
Reality check.
reality check. Oh my goodness. What's that, David?
How old was she when she saw that?
Like 13. And in front of all her friends.
That's the normal age.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's hard to impress your family and your kids, especially. We know that all too much.
Mhm.
Well, then after my family was in France, they left France as a result of the French Inquisition, and they and many other Fradins moved to Ukraine, that part of Russia at the time.
Mhm.
And then my grandfather grew up in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and he didn't want to go and fight in the Japanese-Russian War. So he did like others. He burned his lungs with muriatic acid, which caused him to cough for the rest of his life. But because of that, they made him into a blacksmith to take care of the soldiers' horses, and he eventually became the blacksmith to the governor of Kiev in Ukraine, and was responsible for about 200 horses, keeping their shoes on. And then the governor came to him, gave him several $100s, and said, "Get out of the country," because the ninth pogrom was about to occur, and they would come in and slaughter all the Jews again. So he left the country and immigrated to the United States, landed in New York, went through Ellis Island, got a job or two or three, and finally made enough money to send home so that his wife and his first son could join him. So eventually he gravitated to Baltimore. That's where my dad was born in 1917.
Resilience, that's the word that comes to mind. I love hearing about history, true history. And when you hear about what our forefathers, our great, great, great grandparents, all of them, what they went through, my goodness.
Your grandmother had a story.
Yes, her mother was in Auschwitz.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
so it's relatable. We're going here. There has been persecution, like seems like forever.
Yes, yes. And when she went, when my grandmother took a trip to Poland, which was on her bucket list, when she got to that area, she said it was surreal. Have you ever been to one of those places out of the country where you could feel the history, feel the the presence of those people that were there?
Yeah, I gave a speech at a product management conference in Lisbon, Portugal, a few years ago. And the organizer took us downtown to show us around. And he took us to a square where there was just a cube in the middle of the square. And he said, "This is where the Jews were slaughtered during the Inquisition. And their temple, or their synagogue, was burned down, and they erected a Catholic church right on top of it. And I think he said something like 7,000 Jews were slaughtered there."
Oh,
Mm.
wow, that would be surreal. Oh my goodness.
Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, my team and I are happy to help. We work across all price points and specialize in helping clients relocate from anywhere in the country. Give me a call, 214-708-2450.
Hello, my name is Ashley. I was doing the pleasure of working with these amazing people today at Wing Daddies. I've been in Dallas for a little minute now, so it's always great to hear how amazing my service is. I try not to deliver service, I try to deliver an amazing experience, and I hope I did that just tonight for them. And I hope to see y'all again. Thank you so much. We love you. Yes, and I love y'all.
Steve Jobs from Apple, when you used to work with him,
Was he like a tyrant god when he was working there, or what?
My gosh.
Well, he was Buddhist.
Oh, really?
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
He had gone to India to learn more about Buddhism. And there was two Steve Jobs. I call him Steve Jobs 1.0 and 2.0. I knew the 1.0, who was slightly narcissistic, had a tremendous ability to perceive what the future of computing might be, like 6, 7 years in the future, but he couldn't. He somehow perceived that it was occurring that day. So I tried to stay as far away from him as I possibly could. After I joined Apple to bring the first hard disk drive to market, which was a big storage space, it was 5 megabytes, and it was really cheap. It was only $3,500, called the Apple Profile. Because I had run organizations and managed groups in the past, they noticed I knew how to manage, so they asked me to take over as the group product manager for the Apple III. And at that time, Steve then took the executive committee off to a retreat and convinced them that the Apple III was occupying a portion of the market that he wanted his beloved Macintosh to go, even though he wasn't shipping the Mac yet. So he convinced them to cancel the product line. And a week or two later, I got called into President John Scully's office, and he was sitting there along with Joe Graziano, the VP of Finance, Del Yoakum, the VP of Manufacturing, and Ida Cole, the marketing director for the division I was in. It is looking at a super VisiCalc spreadsheet. He says, "Dave, we have a problem. We've got $20 million worth of piece parts, and we canceled the product line. And these piece parts are spread between our manufacturing facilities in Singapore, in Dallas, and in Cork, Ireland. What should we do about it?" And I said, "What do you mean, we, paleface?" And he did laugh. So I had to explain to him that comes from a joke of the Lone Ranger that was galloping out in the desert, and Lone Ranger rode a white horse, who's buried next to him, by the way, and wore a mask and had a gun with one silver bullet, and he was campaigning for good over evil. And he had a Indian sidekick by the name of Tonto.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell the story to Indians, I have to say an American Indian sidekick. And they're surrounded by 10,000 yelling, screaming Indians. And Lone Ranger turned to Tonto and says, "What should we do, Tonto?" And Tonto, being an American Indian, says, "What do you mean, we, paleface?" Using the slang for the white Caucasian man. So I told Scully and the others in the room how difficult it was to get a promotion going. I had to go through 8 levels of bureaucracy before I could affect the sale on a computer store's showroom floor. Mm-hmm. And that you hold me responsible for the product line, but you don't give me any authority. And I said, "Give me the authority." And I told him the story of a friend of mine, Kelly Johnson's Skunk Works at Lockheed, where he could develop an advanced high-tech aircraft, build it, and ship it in about 18 months, when the rest of Lockheed would take about 7 years. I told him about the soul of a new machine from, I think it was Alpha General. And I also told him about the IBM PC, that they couldn't get things done in the corporate headquarters to develop a PC because the highly paid sales force of IBM feel that would replace their product, and they wouldn't make those commissions anymore. So they moved the headquarters of the PC development group at IBM to Boca Raton, as far away from Schenectady they could get while staying in the same time zone. And I said, "Give me the authority to go with responsibility." So he said, "Make me a proposal." I gathered information from about 75 other people in the company, and a core group of us, about 7 to 12, wrote a 80-page business plan, and we presented it at an executive committee meeting of the company on July 5th, 1983. July 15th, 1983, a day that will live in infamy, at least in my mind. And one of the ladies that was working with me, Maxine Graham, suggested that in addition to the typical comparisons of profit and loss and balance sheet and so forth, we should also compare the decision alternatives that the executive committee had to Apple values. So some of the values of Apple are empathy for our customers, achievement, individual performance, positive social communication, contribution, team spirit, innovation, quality excellence, and good management. So the climax of that meeting was when Floyd Kwame, the VP of Sales and Marketing, said to me, Dave, if we pick the option to shut the product line down or the option to let the market decide when we should shut the product down, and you got a call from a dealer, what would you say? I said, well, if you guys decide to let the market decide, then I'll tell a dealer that we'll continue marketing and supporting and servicing and selling Apple IIIs and manufacturing them as long as you are doing it, as long as your customers are buying them. But if you guys decide to shut down the product line, I would tell the dealer I would give the dealer your phone number, Floyd, and I'll have them call you. And they laughed, and I didn't realize it at the time, but in the back of the room was a lady by the name of Ann Bowers, who was married to Bob Noyce at Intel. And she, as a consultant and later as VP of HR at Apple, was instrumental in getting Apple to develop a set of values, publish them, and train people when they came on board, when they were hired on their first day, into the importance of the values. And the values everybody had when they went into a room to make a decision. Those are the values they were coming from.
That is epic.
You know, I can see where marketing could be in direct conflict with Moore's Law. So like Moore's Law is like 18 months to like 2 years. Every that time span, the computer gets twice as faster and cheaper. And like you're marketing something that could be obsolete in a short amount of time span.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's if you're in the chip business. In the personal computer business, you usually have around a 5-year lifespan.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that. The Boston Consulting Group, a few years later, after the story I just told you, identified a thing that they call a cash cow. And that's what Apple had in the Apple III. There was little additional R&D being done, being spent on, and was just producing profits. And we produced enough profits to help fund the development of the Macintosh and create enough jobs or pay enough jobs to keep about 1,000 to 1,500 people employed at Apple.
Nice.
And then after I shut the product line down in 1984, by the following January, all those people got laid off. And eventually Steve failed with the Lisa. He failed with the Macintosh. By January of 1985. He only sold 4 Macintoshes, and so the board decided to replace them.
You know, I want to get up to the 10,000-foot level because it's obvious that you're extremely intelligent and, you know, you've done your homework. We teach people how to be an advocate for themselves because I would say 10% of our population would know even how to approach Steve Jobs like you did, or this president or that president. Where did you get that skill set? Did you learn it? Has it always been there? As far as even speaking up for yourself and having your ducks in a row, of course, is important, but you have to have the courage to even get up off that chair and go be an advocate for yourself and for the company. Where did you get that skill set? I'm sure our audience is thinking, wow, you know, he's intelligent. How do I get to the point where I can do that?
I developed it over the years. As a teenager, I was in the Civil Air Patrol. Worked my way up, I think, to the level of a major, just below a lieutenant colonel, and learned how to fly in an airplane.
Literally.
Flapped my wings, soloed when I was 16. Got my private pilot's license when I was 17. Went off to college, the University of Michigan, and I was shocked that they didn't have a flying club. So I started a flying club there, which still goes today because we had a set of values, and it's trained over 5,000 pilots. Many of the pilots that are flying airlines today learned how to fly in the flying club that I started, including the head of the Blue Angels.
Wow.
And then, because the supersonic transport was under question in Congress, my aerospace engineering professor asked me if I'd like to start and run a nationwide student organization in support of an American supersonic transport called Fly America's SST, or FAST. So by the time I was done with my sophomore year in college, I testified before the U.S. House of Representatives, the Astronautics and Aeronautics Committee, before the Senate. And then after it got shut down, the SST, we all felt that there was a strong anti-technology feeling in the country. So we changed the name to Federation of Americans Supporting Science and Technology, raised several $100,000 a year in donations from Fortune 500 companies. We had 15,000 members on 40 campuses, chapters around the country. And then when I graduated, I moved the headquarters to DuPont Circle, and Andrew Mellon's, the former treasurer's mansion, and near DuPont Circle, right next to the, I forget the name of the institute, the Brookings Institute. Lobbied Congress to get the space shuttle built, and we were successful on that. Lobbied Congress for Project Independence to relieve our overwhelming dependency on Middle East oil, was not as successful on that. And then when I decided I couldn't be a student anymore, I was recruited to go to Minnesota to head up the Environmental Balance Association and have try to balance economic, environmental, and energy needs, which resulted in me becoming the second environmental mediator in the history of the world. Help resolve the Anheuser-Busch malt plant dispute in Moorhead, and help resolve the legendary biggest environmental conflict at that time over the reserve mining companies dumping of taconite tailings into Lake Superior. So I learned those skills of negotiation and mediation through those years. And that became particularly helpful as a product manager, who's usually charged with the responsibility for the product or product line, but not given any authority. So you have to negotiate, mediate, and work out differences to get alignment. In contrast, one of the stories is that someone got into an elevator with Steve Jobs, and Steve asked the guy, "What are you doing?" And in the elevator ride, the guy described what he does for Apple, and Steve says, "You're fired." And then a few months later, the guy gets back into the elevator with Steve, and Steve says, "Why are you still here?" So my first question is, why did he get in the elevator the second time after doing that?
Yeah.
After Steve had his failures with Lisa and Macintosh, he left the company and formed Next Computing, which I called, as the associate director of the Personal Computer Information Service and a market research firm, DataQuest. I called the company Mean Last. And sure enough, the Next Computer failed. He was having difficulty with Pixar, who he had just recently bought. And he sought out mentoring help from Dave Packard of Hewlett Packard. And I knew Dave well because when I was in corporate PR at HP, one of my assignments was to handle Dave's personal PR. And Packard convinced him that don't be afraid to obsolete your own product. Otherwise, someone else will do it for you. And he was afraid of doing that, of obsoleting his own product. So when he came back and he invented the iPod, I was involved in the invention of the iPod, and then more importantly, the iPhone, which had the iPod built into it. He obsoleted his iPod, and the company grew. And I said, if to a bunch of fellow Apple alumni, if the first Steve Jobs was like the second Steve Jobs, I said this about 15 years ago, I said that Apple would be the most valuable company in the world. And sure enough, 10 years later, after Steve passed, it became the most valuable company in the world. It has been up until about last year, until NVIDIA came along with their AI chips.
Mm-hmm. We're
Interesting.
going to take a short break right now, and I'll be right back with David Fradin.
A heart-led entrepreneur with a powerful message, but no idea where to start with a podcast? I see you, and let me tell you, you have not missed the boat. I created the 7-Day Podcast Pro just for you. It's a guided experience where we take your voice, your wisdom, your mission, and turn it into a professional, purpose-driven podcast in just 7 days. There's no guesswork, no overwhelm, and absolutely no tech confusion. You don't need to know how to edit. You don't need a fancy studio. You just need your message and the courage to share it. If you're ready to be heard, ready to lead, and take your message national or even global, 7-Day Podcast Pro is your launch pad. Let's get your voice into the world where it belongs.
Cedar Ridge Acres soap. Why? 'Cause you smell good.
You're watching the Rockstar Diaries TV show. Hey, welcome back to Rockstar Diaries. Wow, we're getting loads of information here on tech.
Yes.
This is a great day for this. So David, I want to ask you, if you went back 20 years, what company would you have said 20 years ago would be a hot company nowadays? And then I want to ask you, looking at what's here now and 20 years after, in the future, what's going to be hot?
Well, 20 years ago, I started buying Apple stock. So I would have said Apple 20 years ago. Then I think about 15 years ago, I said Amazon. So I started buying Amazon stock. Mm-hmm. The reason I did both of those is because those companies have values and they care about the customer. Customer service is the most important thing. And they carefully observe what others are doing and why, what they're doing, why they want to do it. So both of those, in my mind, were going to be successful. I'm not so sure this AI boom and what's his name, Zuckerman, spending $50 billion for a Manhattan-sized data center in rural Louisiana is going to necessarily turn out okay. I don't see necessarily the business model there. Because AI, in addition to being able to quickly gather and synthesize information, if you feed it garbage information, like some of the posts on Facebook, which Zuckerberg is using to train his AI, the old saying in computers is garbage in and garbage out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'll get responses like Elon Musk got from Gronk, his little AI engine, with his anti-Jewish, his pro-Hitler rantings. And so I'm not so sure we as a society are going to be able to deal with some of the negative amalgamations of wrong things in artificial intelligence. Whereas on the other side, it's capable of doing some pretty good things. In fact, I've got an article on my website at Spice Catalyst about the notion of do, understanding what it is that people want to do, when they want to do it, why, how, and so forth. Mm-hmm. And I thought about 15 years ago, it'd be nice to put together a wiki-do like Wikipedia and have people around the world contribute to it, those things that people want to do. That if a company wants to somebody wants to start a company, they just look at those lists of things to do And if they have a better way of doing it, that's called innovation, then they can start a company around that product or that service. Well, now with AI, I went to Perplexity. For grins, I just said, what is it that people want to do? And it came back and gave me a nicely organized list, like I think in 8 categories of different things that people would like to do, like eating, sleeping, dressing, shelter, getting up in the morning, that kind of thing. And then I said, okay, well, which of these things that people want to do, can AI do it for them? And it came back and said, well, it could do this one well, it could do this one well, it cannot do this one, and so forth. So that's an article up on my website. So if anybody's thinking of starting a company, they can start there in terms of trying to figure out what it is that their product is going to do.
I love that. I do want to talk for a moment about the knowledge industry. It's booming ever since COVID hit. Online, whether it's mentoring, coaching, building courses, that type of thing is just exploding. And I know a big topic of contention is AI, and that some of the younger people are making millions off of AI generated courses. So I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who actually write up the content. Do you have any product, because that is a product, do you have any specific advice for, including ourselves, because we mentor, we build, we have courses that we sell. Do you have any specific advice for the knowledge industry and that particular product and getting it out?
Well, it's going to be the same as any other product. But you also need to be careful that it doesn't go wild like Gronk does and start teaching the wrong things.
Yes.
Give you an example of that. I was talking to somebody in the late 80s, and they said they were admiring John Scully at Apple, and said that when I grow up, I want to be just like him. Well, John's biography came out, and I was traveling someplace and saw the book in a bookstore, picked it up, flipped to the index and looked for Apple III, and they went to that like paragraph that he had written about the Apple III, and it was wrong. So if people believed this ghostwritten biography or autobiography of his, then they'll follow that path to try to be successful, and it won't work for them because it's made up. It's a lot like the Art of the Deal, which Trump did not write, but his ghostwriter indeed did write.
You know what I think it's time for?
What?
The hard question.
Oh.
Okay, now this is going to be good for you. Okay, so now imagine you are going to karaoke and you have this song you've always wanted to sing, but you know you're going to get blackmailed if you do.
Oh.
What is that song you're going to sing? Because you don't care. You're going to do it anyway.
Well, actually, I can't sing, but I do play an instrument. It's called a triangle.
Yes.
Yes.
And I've been trying to do, what do they call it? An extended play CD, which requires 6 songs. And I can only come up with 5: breakfast, lunch, brunch, supper, and dinner. And as soon as I come up with the 6th composition, then I'm going to publish it. And my stage name is the One Note Wonder.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Most people that do karaoke can't sing. So you still have to pick a song.
You got to pick
Can't
one.
use that as an excuse.
I left my heart in Ukraine.
Is that a real song?
No, I just made it up.
Oh.
All right. Okay.
All right.
How about Midnight Snack for your last title of that song?
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, Midnight
Although it's 2 words, but you could, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
It could be simply a snack. It could be half a note.
Yeah. Oh, no. I love it. The triangle.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we only have a few more
Wonder.
minutes. What's that?
The One Note Wonder.
The One Note Wonder. Okay.
Yeah, some of these stories that I told you, and many, many more, are going to go in my last book called Trippin', Life's Little Laughs. And it's going to be an unauthorized autobiography.
Good. You're gonna have to sue yourself.
Yeah, probably get a lot of money.
Well, you know what? You bring up a good point. It's all in the title, getting, people to notice just by the title. And that is epic. I love that. But since we are out of time, any parting words for maybe somebody that's wanting to write a book, wants to play triangle, or is creating a new product?
Just do it.
Just do it. Yes.
That's what I think that you just demonstrated all your life. You just got up every morning, you went, you did it, and just life just threw things in your path. You just graduated every single day. It's like people nowadays are sitting on their sofa watching TV going, man, I wish I could do this.
Or complaining about something but not doing anything to change it,
So is that part of your generation?
Yeah,
good
question.
Is that just like, or just do your family give you that makeup, or you just like this? That is just you from the beginning. You just do.
Well, when I was playing Little League baseball, I was a skinny little thing. In fact, I was so skinny and bony, my dad would not let me sit on his lap because it said poke them.
Oh!
And, I was on third base, and there was a hit to the infield, and I broke for home. And the catcher was about twice as big as me, and he had all that protective gear on. And I plowed into him head first, knocked him silly, and scored. And nobody had ever seen such a courageous or stupid player ever before.
You just do it. You just got to do it.
You just do it. Yeah. A friend of mine said, she's in the TV and podcast world. She says, who cares if you have it all together, but you have to press record.
Just press the button. Just do it.
Press the button. Just get up off that couch. Just do it. There's a reason why Nike came up with that, right? I love it.
Well, it's great having you today. I mean, we learned a lot of stuff. And is there any like sites we can go to have our viewers go to check up on what you're doing?
Yeah, go to spicecatalyst.com.
Okay.
If you want any of my books, go to Amazon and just search for David Fradin. If you're interested in letters for my Heime, you can search for that, or search for Duke David Fradin, since the Duke wrote that book. Or you can go to my personal book website, davidfradin.com.
Oh, wonderful.
There you have it.
Links. Yep.
Or you can send me $100 at the address below.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know what made me think of this, but he always says, as musicians, we just need what? 1% of the population to like our music. That's it. 1%, which is a lot of people.
Millions and millions of people.
But you got to start somewhere. 1%.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a pleasure with you on the show and getting to know you. You're hilarious. We'd like to continue having a connection with you, so don't be a stranger.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much, David.